What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast No Plus. I'm Alex. In this video, I wanted to do just a quick one, talking a little bit about GTA, the price yet again, but this time, and this might shock you, but Bank of America has swooped in to deliver the message that we were all waiting for them to deliver, which was telling us how much they think is worth spending on GTA 6. Don't you love it when banks get involved? Which, and by the way, this is all kind of an elaborate joke, because what are we doing? Like, what's going on that we need? And I thought that was kind of a joke. It's not April 1st, though, so I thought, well, we can rule that out. Bank of America jumps in, and they say, we think it's in Take-Two's self-interest as a publisher and partner to many developers to raise the price point for the entire industry. Is this the Antichrist? Like, what is that statement? And by the way, who gave Bank of America a speaking piece, a mouthpiece? You know, like, where do they find the megaphone to put this out into the ether? You know, like, where is this coming from? And why are we allowing, and look, here's the deal. All right, you can kind of go on and on and on, and maybe I will just a little bit more. This should just be ignored, right? Not necessarily from us. I think it's kind of fun, kind of funny. If Take-Two is looking at what Bank of America is saying about the gaming industry, I don't know if they are taking this as like honest feedback, you know, or something like, hey, we're going to kind of nudge you. If that's the case, we're all doomed. We are all super doomed, because this should not even be happening. What in God's name are you talking about? Again, in terms of your own interests as a publisher and partner to many developers. So that's the whole, you're going to help everybody else if you do it. Here's the deal, Bank of America, in case you're listening. Again, what a strange place. Like, who's even saying that? Who's got the time at Bank of America to talk about GTA 6? Like, why is that even a topic? But let me say something, all right? We've said this before. It would actually be the most insulting thing to the rest of the industry to put it at $80. Now, and maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but here's how it's going to work, right? And I've said this before. You raise your price to $80. You do one thing and one thing only. You show everybody else that it's possible. That's all you're doing. And we know that the gaming industry is largely a bunch of sheep and that you need a leader, okay? So GTA would be the leader in this case. Now, Nintendo tried, and Nintendo was not really followed, which I actually would give a lot of praise to the rest of the industry for not doing it. Nintendo, of course, does Mario Kart World, right? That's the first really big, that's an $80 game. Microsoft tried, to their discredit, I don't want to pat them on the back. In fact, I want to kind of take shots. They tried it with the Outer Worlds 2, which is, by the way, hilarious that you would choose that game, okay? But you choose Outer Worlds 2. You pick that game, and as far as I'm aware, you can let me know if I'm wrong, but like Mario Kart and then Outer Worlds, has there been any other I feel like if an $80 game comes up, everybody collectively points and laughs at it and says, don't support this. So I feel like I would remember Donkey Kong was $70. That's the thing, too. Remember, Nintendo was just picking specifics, like maybe a Smash Bros. In the future, or Animal Crossing for sure will be $80, okay? The next Animal Crossing. But anything else might not be $80, okay? Xbox tries it, what happens? They actually get bullied out of it, right? Outer Worlds is $70. Still, by the way, did not seem to sell well at all, but it came out $70 instead of $80. So here we are, with really, to my belief, Mario Kart as the only $80 game. So, okay, GTA tries it. Now, here's the thing. Maybe everything I just said is, maybe I'm thinking it the wrong way. Maybe GTA goes for it, and publishers, they still believe it's the wrong idea to do it. And that would be the hope, If GTA wants to go for it, look, we've said this time and time again, it will work. It will only work for GTA. Mario is another one, by the way. There's a handful of games you might be able to get away with when you do something like this. But the idea that Bank of America, not even taking it as a joke, the thing that Bank of America is trying to do is say, okay, if GTA raises it to 80, everybody else will do the same, and it will become acceptable for everybody to move it up. That is not true. That is factually incorrect. And you're going to see that with the next-gen consoles. If they're priced at $900, $1,000, you're going to see people not get them. Okay, if games are all of a sudden $80, you are going to see them not sell. This, by the way, is coming from somebody that buys a lot of day one games, supports the games of current time, and also has like 400 plus games physically of, past. Okay. I love the past. I love the present. Maybe the past a little bit more as time and time goes on. No, but I mean, that's the situation. I really believe that is the case and we've been saying it forever, but it's just, I think it's gold, that Bank of America thinks that they know how this thing's going to work. I'm telling you right now, and I guess I'm more confident than Bank of America is, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. If GTA, when I say that, I don't mean they're not going to do it. They very well could. I think as time has gone on, I don't think it will be. I really think GTA 6 is going to be $70. That's my prediction today. A couple months ago, I think I would have said 80, but I just feel as we've gotten closer, the comments from, their CEO, Take-Two CEO, I really think it's going to come at 70. And I think that's the right move. Again, though, if you did do 80, it really wouldn't change anything for you. You're going to make a boatload of money. People will still do it. Everybody, I mean, okay, are you going to knock out 1 to 2% of your consumers? Yeah, you probably will. That's not enough to hurt GTA 6. But thinking that it's all of a sudden going to have this cascading effect, that everybody else is going to say, okay, the dam's broken, we can all do it now too. Not true. They might think that might be true, but it's not going to work. It's not going to work. You try to move 20 more games to $80 versus 70, those games will fail. There really, at least in my opinion, does seem to be this invisible line around that $60 mark. I think even moving things to 70 has backfired to a degree. I really feel you can like it or hate it. I mean, I think I like it for the consumer wise, right? I really feel there's a line that a majority of console players, a majority of PC players, I think there's an invisible line that we have kind of drawn in our head where we are uncomfortable spending more than X amount on a game. And it ranges. It totally ranges depending on the person. But I think the number is generally $60 to $70. I think you lost an okay amount of people raising games to 70. Now, of course, not every game did get raised to 70, right? But I do think you lost people. I think the jump is going to be massive, raising it from 70 to 80. I really think there's a line that, say you lost, say, 5 to 10% of people from 60 to 70. I think it's more like 20, 30, 40% of people from 70 to 80. I just feel that invisible line is so much more powerful when you get past $70. Because also, by the way, it still doesn't stop. Once you get to 80, of course, 100 is right there. You only have to go up 2 more times, 90, 100. Like, that's all it's going to take. So it's not going to be the end of it. I think games eventually might try to be 80, to be 90, to be 100. It's just not going to work. You gotta, from their perspective, they gotta find cheaper ways to make games. And I've talked about that, hundreds of videos, on these channels. We don't have to go into it now. That's their way around it. Make games faster, make games cheaper. That way you don't have to sell as much. That way you don't have to charge as much. That's the key. Making games more expensive is just not going to work. And final thing I'll say, and it's the thing we've been saying kind of for like a year now, look back at last year, look at all the games that killed it. And I mean, this year is more AAA dominated so far. The Crimson Deserts, Pragmata, Resident Evil, Capcom's killing it, right? But I mean, there's been a lot more AAA. There has been AA this year as well. But last year was a lot of AA. Expedition, Hades, Blueprints, things like that. There was a lot of those games, Balatro, if you go back, there's a lot of those games, and they're $20, $40 max, $40, $50. A lot of games that really crushed it in the last year. Hollow Knight is another one, right? A lot of those games are cheap. They're really cheap, and why would you spend 80 when you could spend 30 and get a game like that, right? So that's, I think, the dilemma for these publishers. So then that's why it's just not going to work. So I would advise not listening to Bank of America in this case. And again, they can say whatever they want. Take-Two can do whatever they want. It's up to them to do it. And again, maybe it's 2 separate issues. Take-Two does it. That's one thing, and we can judge that accordingly. Everybody else following it or not following it is really up to them. I guess there's not much Take-Two does there. They set the trend, and they sit back and watch as other people either double down on it or don't follow them. And the smart move is to not follow them. But they don't really have anything to do with that next part, right? They just do it, and then they just kind of step back, do their own thing, and let everybody else kind of fall into place. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.